Hello and welcome to this year's virtual syllabus. I find these really important and helpful to all of you at home who have not had a student in band or just need a quick refresher. So I'm going to go through this here, our syllabus, in great detail. So hopefully I can answer all questions and make it very clear as to how things work for this class. So here we go. To start, at the top of the syllabus is basically all my contact information. I'm Mr. Cook. We have my phone number here for my classroom and my extension. Office hours, which include my prep time, which is 10:20 to 11:20, and when I'm available after school. So you can call me directly during those times, and I will pick up, hopefully. At the bottom is my email, my school email. That is the most preferred way to contact me. I try to be as with it as possible to respond. Please be patient if you haven't heard from me at least in a day or two. Then maybe send another reminder so I can get it. But usually I'm pretty good about that. That's contact information. It's pretty easy. Let's get into the meat and potatoes here. So the course is a performance-based course. As it says here, band is a performance-based class in which students will learn musical concepts and techniques through the study of a musical instrument. In order to be successful, students are expected to show up to class prepared and focused on the task at hand. Best daily efforts are essential for the progress of the individual and the entire group. And it's important to remember that this is like a team and we are accountable to each other. That is actually what is maybe the most important thing about this class. At the end of the day, I've had thousands of students at this point, taught many students about music, and I'm not sure if any of them actually play music as a career or earn their living playing music. Most of them have found something else. So in this class, we really focus on highlighting those life skills, being accountable to others, being respectful, contributing to the group in a positive way. All these things are very valuable outside of a band room in any field. So I really hope parents not only realize they're giving your student a gift of music, which is incredible, but also preparing them for any field in terms of being responsible and organized and all those things that we all hope for, all become real life in this class. So more than music, we learn some very valuable life skills here. So that's something we strive for. Necessary supplies is next. And of course, an instrument is necessary. That should be housed here in the band room in a locker. So it's usually not far. Your student is more than welcome to bring their instrument back and forth and practice at home. However, that should be reserved for students that are very organized and are not very forgetful, so that instrument is in class and they can contribute. Like I said, this year it is not required to bring an instrument back and forth, but it is great to get additional practice. If you're enjoying yourself and you want to improve, more time on task, the better. So there's nothing wrong with bringing it home for the weekend and playing 20 minutes here or there to just keep your skills up. However, you also will have to bring your instrument home to do playing tests, but more on that later. Pencils are used in band. We make changes to our music and we might change our mind and change it to something else. It's very commonplace from this point all the way up into the professional point. So pencils are our friend, so we can erase. That would be great if we brought a pencil with us every day. There's also a need for a black 3-ring binder. And as it's stated, black and 3 rings, and really only about an inch. You could do any size, but you really don't need that 4-inch mammoth one. Anywhere an inch or 2 would be fine. A lot of students from 6th grade all the way to 8th grade keep track of these things, and it's cool because they get to see what the music they played as a 6th grader, and as a 7th grader, and as an 8th grader. So it's a nice little keepsake too, if you can organize it throughout. I provide the little plastic pages, so you don't need to pick those up. Students just have to ask if they need more, and I will give them right over. So that's something I will provide. Next up is our book. We use this on the daily as our Essential Elements book. And for 6th graders, they will need book 1, which looks like this. Now, this is the trumpet book, so this is for trumpet players, of course. There's, varieties. This is the flute book, so make sure it's the right instrument for what you're playing, and then also that it has the yellow top. Book 1, 6th grade definitely needs that. 7th graders use them, but they should already have them. And 8th grade uses book 2, which is just the same. It has the instrument you play, and the red stripe is for book 2. So that's it for necessary daily supplies. Let's get into rental information here. A&G is our renter. They have an online presence and a phone number and a physical building. So plenty of ways to reach them. Their website is listed here. It's schoolmusiconline.com. So you can just go online. If you're renting an instrument or need to order something, you can do it straight from their website, and they will bring it straight to our school. You can also make a phone call, of course, if you'd prefer. They visit us on Wednesdays in that prep window of mine, so 11:20 to 11 or 10:20 to 11:20. So if your student's in 4th, 5th, 6th hour and you order something, they can get it to that student before they even see me. So it's a very convenient service. Definitely worth taking advantage of. They also, handle repairs that way. So if your instrument needs to go in, they'll come up and pick it up, and bring it to the shop, and bring it back. You don't have to go anywhere. It may take a couple days longer than it normally would, but if you are okay with, having them take care of it, that's how it goes. More on instruments when we cover our rental night a little later, but that's the skinny. A&G is our provider. You can contact them in any number of ways. And remember, this is the big one. I am not your provider. I don't know the whereabouts of all 200 instruments that are in this room. It is your students and your responsibility to know and where that instrument is. If your student quits band and needs to turn into their instrument, that is on your student and yourself. I don't track people down. I'm not A&G, so please, if you need any instrument-related questions, you go to them. I can help out in the classroom, but I am not your instrument provider. Grading. Okay, so grading this year is going to be based on a points total. So it makes things simpler. I basically look at it in 2 categories. There's participation and performance, the 2 P's. Participation essentially is in class. So anything we do in here, so that could be, an in-class assignment, something we might have to do with a sub one day, but it's mostly showing up prepared and trying your best. So if you show with your book, your pencils, your binder, your instrument every day, you're already looking to be good there, get 100%. Other things you might need to think about are reeds or like oils or sticks, depending on what instrument you play. Trying to stay up on that is important. But also, just being on task, being respectful, all these things go towards participation. But it's everything we do in school. You could be the best player, you could be the worst player, it doesn't matter. It's not talent-based, it's effort-based. So come in with your supplies, ready to go, and participation should be a breeze. Shouldn't be a big deal. Performances. We've switched this up a little bit. There are performances that are after school. Those are our concerts, and those dates are listed in the back of the syllabus on the important dates page, so check that out. But they're generally happening around 7 o'clock in the evening. You show up to the concert in the proper attire, that to come, and you stay for the concert. That's important, is that we want our 6th graders to see our 7th and 8th graders, because that leads to the inspiration. They can see where they're headed instead of just playing the same things they hear in their class. It's nice to see what the future holds for you. So it is required that students attend the entire concert. They're not that long, and it's completely worthwhile. Concert attire. Your student will be getting a band t-shirt. Those usually get printed and handed out around Halloween, so there's a little bit of time on that. But then from there, from the waist down, your student is wearing black. So a black belt, black pants, black shoes, black socks. Your shirt, of course, should be tucked into the pants. We're looking for an overall professional look here. We emulate what the professional orchestras do. They dress elegantly, they dress nice. We're going to do a middle school version of that. Of course, we have a T-shirt, so it's a little casual, but still, it's a uniform. We look sharp. It's all about that. Um, can you miss a concert? Yes and no. Um, of course, if your family has planned a trip way in advance and there's overlap with the concert date and the trip, you go on your trip. That's not a big deal. If there's a major life event like a funeral or a wedding or something where it's a one-time deal, you go to that as well. If you're very ill and sick and can't perform, you stay home and get better. Those are reasons why you would miss. But aside from that, there's really no other reason. We are a performance-based class, and it's so important that you perform and take the time to see what it's like to get out on that stage and play music, because that's really where it all happens. That's the moment where most students have the I like this moment. I'm enjoying myself. So without the performances, you may never get there. You may never know if you really wanted to do this. It's so important that we perform. So we remember, we talked about this, that school is kind of like a job for students. And if we have a performance after school, that is the priority. So dance rehearsal, football practice, any number of things does not um, does not equal an excuse. All right. The school does not run football practices at the same time. There's never an issue there. But these dance studios seem to be the tricky ones. It is one day off. It is a school obligation. It is a graded school obligation. I don't see why any studio couldn't honor the fact that your 12 or 11-year-old student is doing more than one thing. So please try your best to make these concerts and clear schedules in anticipation of them, because it's so important to their continued musical journey. And just without them, they may or may not, stick with it. Other things that are common problems are family birthday parties. My little brother's birthday is that day. It's okay to have your birthday on the same day as a concert, but maybe try and plan the actual party or the big event on a weekend, not to interfere with it. I don't really see that as a excuse. And the truth of the matter is it's not going to change. As you get into the high school, if you stick with it, same rules apply. There's just more events at that point. So we got to get accustomed to making room for the performances in our schedule. It's very important. The other part of performances is playing tests. And that's really the only true kind of assignments we have in here, are things that are done at the home, really, you could say. In years past, I used to allow students to do playing tests in class. However, it takes a lot of time, and I've decided to do it differently this year. So playing tests are now a performance. So that means your student will be required to record themselves playing the required melody at home and submit it on time. Now, if you go to Schoology, all the playing tests for this quarter are already input, and those due dates are already up. So you can mark them down in your calendar now, know where they are, because what I'd like to drive home again is that those life skills were performance based. If I were hired to play your wedding and I showed up a day late, I'm sure that would be a problem. So it's really important that we understand these hard deadlines. So we really want to see these playing tests turn in by that date. I will allow you to do them in advance. If you're ready to go, you can turn them in when you're ready, but they have to be turned in by that due date, or there will be a substantial markdown. Um, I think it's going to get more as the age goes on. So I'm going to mark down sixth graders at a 30% markdown. I will mark down seventh graders at a 40% markdown, and eighth graders will go all the way down to that 50%. Because it's just really important that we understand that this is a performance. You must be on time. You must schedule yourself and make the time for it. I'm not requiring any at-home practice or anything else. So you have roughly 3 weeks to prepare before each playing test. Ample time. ample time to find 5 minutes to record yourself playing. So there's really going to be no excuse on that. It's all about those life skills. We're really pushing that. And that's really it for grading. I'm going to do a points total thing this year, so the number of points you get out of how many will dictate your grade. That seems to benefit everybody, easier for grading, and it usually keeps the grades up. So that's some new stuff. Moving on to the classroom rules, we're now onto the back of the syllabus. It says 5 here, but there are only 4 this year. I took one away. Big rule, this is the one that most middle schoolers have trouble with, is no food or gum or sugary drinks in this room. Not only do I want to keep the ants at bay, but if you have sugary drinks or gum or food, anything in your mouth, and then you go to play, that ends up in your instrument. If that ends up sitting in your instrument, mold starts to collect. If your instrument collects mold, it can completely undo itself. We're talking very expensive repair bills, potentially $300, $400, $500 for a repad, potentially completely rotting out the instrument. So it's more about the fact that this is for your instrument safety, and also you really don't play as well if you have gum in your mouth. So no gum, no food at all, just water. That's the only thing you're bringing to this room. Number 2, if it's not yours, do not touch. So that's mostly about instruments. Everyone has their own. Please don't grab another person's instrument. These are very expensive items. They should not be treated in that way. They are tied to that person. They are making payments on it. You are responsible for your own instrument. Do not touch other people's instruments. This goes for percussion as well. If you are not a percussionist, you don't touch. I know it's very tempting because it's a drum and everyone wants to hit it. I'm pretty reasonable though. If you come and ask me, say, I would really like to just try that. Could I try it? More than likely, I will say yes. Same as goes for there's some pianos in the room. There's some pianos in practice rooms. If you really want to just dabble around on the piano or try it out, or if you can play, you can use them, but you absolutely should ask first so that it just doesn't get chaotic in here. So that's all I ask. Number 3, these are easy. Be respectful, be kind. I appreciate when students are kind to each other, respect each other, we pick ourselves up, we don't put ourselves down, we're part of a team, we're part of a group. Just remember that, and things should go smoothly. And finally, this is just kind of a random one, but if you have to ask, then don't do it. If in your brain something says, should I say this or should I do this, that's enough to say no. Middle schoolers can be impulsive. Middle schoolers don't always have the right filter, and things just come out or things just happen. So please try to run it through your brain and think to yourself, should I? And if you have to ask yourself that, it's probably I shouldn't. Okay, so just try and take a second. The rest of it here is more geared towards parents. It explains that there's a sign and return and important dates attached to this page. Encouraging you to reach out for any and all questions. I will continue making these videos and sending them out. I'm going to update my video on reeds this year and maybe some more instrument care things. So check in from time to time. I try my best to give good information here or share videos where I feel like this is good information, said it better than me. So this is a good place to check in. I've included a QR code here. Scanning that will bring you right back here, or just simply going to YouTube and searching Wyandot Middle School Band. You can hit that subscribe button, not that we're collecting likes or nothing, but it'll be easier for you to find the information if necessary. So let's go into some of these important dates. As you can see, there's a lot here. The further into the program your student is, the more of these you're going to have to look out for. So the first thing here is the rental night, September 13th, Friday, September 13th. That's mostly for 6th graders. You will get your instrument, your book, hopefully a music stand, and any other accessories you need. So for like saxophone and clarinets, maybe a couple of extra reeds. For trumpets, make sure you get some of those oils. Those are the essentials. So that's one that definitely should go on your calendar, because the following Monday, 6th grade will be playing, and without an instrument, it will make it not nearly as fun at that point. So that's a big one for all sixth graders. September, Friday the 13th from 4:30 to 6:30. Mark your calendars for that. There's a new one here for eighth grade. We're calling it the Marching Night. It seems like a very cool event. It's our inaugural go at this. Both Dakota's and Chippewa Valley's high school marching bands will be there. Your students will get the opportunity to hear them play and work with them. They'll do sectional work, and it will be a pretty cool event. The students will leave during the school day to head to Dakota. They will be fed, and they will have a 7 o'clock performance. So all 4 middle schools at Chippewa Valley will perform, and the 2 high schools. So it's a pretty big band event there, and that is scheduled for Wednesday, September 18th at the Dakota Football Stadium. 7 p.m. I believe is the start time for performance. I will double check with that there. The 8th grade has another event, also marching band oriented, but it's a little bit different. It's just a way to play some fun music that gets us in the start of the year, right? Playing something. We'll do a Halloween concert on October 22nd. I believe that is a Tuesday. Let me double check here. Yes, it is. That will also start at 7 p.m. Students are welcome to wear costumes. That will be the similar thing where we have the middle schools play and the high schools play, just to get the marching band up and going. December 12th is a Thursday. That will be our holiday concert. That's all band students, 6, 7, and 8 will attend that. Music starts at 7. Students arrive at 6:45, and that's a common theme. The 8th graders will do an elementary school touring of the holiday concert. It's a highlight for most 8th grade students. They get a couple days off school. That is still being planned. We don't have dates yet. Solo and ensemble is a volunteer-based event. It is an event that requires a payment, but it's a great opportunity. Any student who is a serious player that wants to see where they stand, how good they actually are doing, and they get some great feedback from professional level players. It's January 18th, so it's a ways away. But registration is due in early November, so by about October, your student should be decided whether or not they want to do it. It's for 7th and 8th graders only. They can participate as an individual, a solo, a duet, a trio, or as a large chamber group. And that's something I would run after school. I will poll the students here in the coming weeks to see what days or what interest there is in that. And hopefully by October, chamber groups will be rehearsing, of course, if there's interest. So look out for that in October, and solo ensemble registration. It happens every year at Rochester High School, and you kind of schedule your time for what works to you. It's always on that Saturday in January. Great event. It's one of my favorite events as a student and as an educator, being on both sides of it. It's just a really solid event. 8th grade's busy this year. They have a pre-festival concert and the band festival concert. This is the big one, the culmination of 3 years of study, and we get the same type of thing. We get a rating based on our performance. We see how we stack up. The pre-fest is in usually the second week of February at Chippewa Valley High School. That will come down the chute soon enough. And then the band festival itself is that weekend from February 27th to March 1st. We do not know where until later on, and we don't know our time until later on. So when I know, you will know, but try to keep that weekend free and clear of travel, vacations, things of that nature. After that, we have the chamber concert, which is a 6th and 7th grade concert. They do in the chamber groups. So anyone who participated in band or solo ensemble that wants to get another performance is welcome to join in on that concert, and that is March 13th this year. We have our spring concert at May 22nd. That's our last concert of the year. All 3 groups perform, and then we end the year with our Cedar Point field trip. The big thing to note there is only 8th grade is going this year. Sorry, everybody. There is also our band bash here. That is to be determined. I have a tentative date for March 14th. However, that's the day after the chamber concert, so I'm looking to change that. So please watch out for that. At the end of your syllabus is a sign and return. Parents, please fill this out. Your student's name, your signature, and email. And if for any reason there's conflicts for dates or things that you would just like to let me know, you can go ahead and write it in there. The important dates page and the sign and return should be removed by you and kept for your calendar, and then the sign and return comes back to me. But that's it. That is your in-depth syllabus for this year, so I hope you take a chance to look it over with your student, and we'll have a great year. All right. Thank you so much.